What is up, everybody? It's me, Josh, back with another video. And what other topic could I have possibly picked for this video other than the Mystic Mine discussion, right? The controversy has sparked again with Sky Striker with Mystic Mine winning YCS Hartford, and I figured what better time to talk about this card and Floodgates in general in Yu-Gi-Oh than right here, right now. So I'm just gonna try and give you guys a little bit of an insight of what I feel about Floodgates in a competitive sense. And I'll let you guys know my personal opinion at the end, but for now, let's put that aside. I think whether you like Mystic Mine or not, because surprisingly, actually, a lot of people have commented under my YCS Hartford kind of reaction roundup video that they liked Mystic Mine and they felt like it was justified in the format because of the kind of broken boards that people make. And that's what I always hear when it comes to Floodgate. It's like, oh, we need this to combat what meta decks are doing, right? And my opinion on that is only because one thing is incredibly broken in Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's the turn one combo boards. I'm not gonna argue that, right? Turn one combos are a problem in Yu-Gi-Oh, but only because that's the case. I don't think that makes these types of cards okay, right? Like when we look at Yu-Gi-Oh, when I look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I always ask myself, okay, does this make the game more skillful? Does this make the game more fun? Does this just make for healthy interactions? And I think Floodgates are pretty much just as bad as like unfair broken combo decks. So while I can see why you would think it's necessary, I personally don't think it's healthy for the game. I mean, everyone is at this point seen, right? Like this feature match right here of just like Mystic Mine being active and they draw pass, draw pass, draw pass, draw pass. And it's just like, I don't want to go over it in detail because this has become like a meme and has been posted everywhere so already, but it still is. I mean, it goes to show what Mystic Mine, does to the game sometimes. And I'm not a fan of that, okay? I'm not a fan of that. But let's look at it from a more neutral standpoint of, okay, people say you can just throw outs into your main deck and it's your own fault if you get decked out by a Mystic Mine, right? And the reason why I disagree with this is that it's not really, you can't say you get punished for not playing an out if it's simply not correct to play a card like Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, or Harpy's Feather Duster in your main deck in a lot of formats, which that is format dependent. You can't simply throw these cards into every main deck with the argument of, oh, I'm gonna lose to Mystic Mine otherwise. Because if these cards are not good in the format, you're not being punished for a bad deck building decision if you're not putting these cards in your deck. That is the correct decision. And this kind of creates this weird dynamic in deck building of if you ever notice that people aren't main decking Twin Twister, Cosmic, Harpy's Feather Duster, or any other outs to Mystic Mine, then you can just throw Mystic Mine into your deck and do incredibly well. And that's what happened at Hartford, right? 3 people in top 4 played Mystic Mine in their main deck. And it's not because everyone was building their deck wrong by not playing Twin, Cosmic, or Feather Duster. These cards were simply not as good in this format in the main deck. You just simply rather have other cards. And the fact that you can capitalize on these kinds of meta developments, that the fact that you can make these sorts of meta calls, to me is kind of cool, actually. That is one of the things that I would personally consider as kind of like a pro when it comes to Mystic Mine in the argument, because I'm not going to sit here and say Mystic Mine completely bad, needs to be banned, because there is some interesting stuff about this, right? Because I think there is something to it, having to make this meta call, having to have the balls to bring a Mystic Mine deck to a tournament, hoping that people don't run many outs. It does require some deck building skill, but there's always 2 parts to it, right? There's deck building skill, and there is also the skill of actually playing the game, in which Mystic Mine is not very, skillful, right? That's kind of the sad part. The deck building aspect can be cool, right? But yeah, but this is also, I think Mystic Mine compares very much the same to any other Floodgate in the game. I don't think there's a big difference to losing a game to a Mystic Mine nowadays than losing it to a Skill Drain, to a There Can Be Only One, to a Goes in Match, and to a Rivalry, whatever. I think Mystic Mine is pretty similar in terms of how it feels to lose to. Maybe it's more frustrating because at least against Trap Floodgates you can win the die roll and just win the game that way. But overall, floodgates have become a problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! And whether you like them or not, I feel like whenever something just splits the community in half, and half of the community is just not enjoying the game whenever a floodgate's being played, or even more, I think they become a problem and need to be talked about. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and just scream, ban Mystic Mine, because I think that is obviously a solution, but I feel like we would just get into the next floodgate discussion afterwards. Or like, the ban list is just the easy way out, right? We don't always need to rely on the ban list to solve certain issues. I think it is possible to solve these issues from a game design perspective, and if we do that, it would actually be much cooler, because we wouldn't face these issues again with the next floodgate, right? Like, they ban Mystic Mine now, and then in 2 months an incredible skill drain deck pops up and it's like Eldritch format again, and everyone complains about skill drain, everyone complains about, I don't know, Goes and Match, Ravelry, there can be only one, whatever. There's cool ways to solve these issues with game design. One cool example of this is out of recent years is Virtual World, which had Virtual World Gate Chuchi, which was an in-archetype searchable way to out face-up cards, that is really the biggest issue, is that cards like Twin Cosmic Feather Duster, those are not really main deckable most of the time. Not always, there's formats where you can do it, but most of the time it's not correct to put these cards into your main deck, which makes these trap decks or these Mystic Mime decks pop up in the first place. And then if a deck like Virtual World was in the format right now, you bet your ass people would not be playing Mystic Mine in their main deck. I mean, some would, but they wouldn't be winning YCSs with it. And like, I really like this sort of design. Another example would be like Salamangreat Rage. Another very cool niche scenario right now is actually the Argyros system, which makes Therion decks unable to get decked out by Mystic Mine. So the Mystic Mine player is actually forced to out their own Mystic Mine, because I personally feel like with Mystic Mine, the only real issue is the deck out portion. If the Mystic Mine player at any point is forced to out their own Mystic Mine because the deck out doesn't work, I feel like the card's actually okay, because it will give the opponent at least some way to play the game again on the turn that the Mystic Mine gets outed by the Mystic Mine player. What I want to get to here is that I really like these, card design solutions to floodgate problems. I wish we had more archetypes that had cards like Virtual World Gate Chuchi. The perfect solution to this, in my opinion, would be a card that had a similar function to Twin Cosmic or Harpy's Feather Duster when it comes to floodgates, but actually is a main deckable card. Because that really is, in my opinion, the biggest issue, is that we can't really main deck some of those cards. And I think it's about time we get something like this in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's something along the lines of quick play spell, destroy a card on the field, or quick play spell, bounce a card from the field to the hand if you think the destruction is too strong. But I feel like at this point, you could like bring it with a cost, like discard a card and then destroy a card on the field with a quick play spell. The reason why I think it has to be a quick play spell is because that would make the card good both going first and second, which is usually the reason why you don't really, see cards like trap cards seeing play right now, right? Because decks don't want to play cards that are just completely bad going second. I'd really just think if a card existed like this that was comparable to stuff like Droplets, which is definitely a main deckable card, right? Because you can use it both going second and going first. If that existed in a form that it beats Floodgates, but it's also good enough, main deckable enough to see play, like to break boards, help break boards, or is like a pseudo interruption going first, I'd like that as a solution to all Floodgates at once, right? Because that would simply mean we have a main deckable way to deal with these cards. That would be my preferred solution. When it comes to Floodgates in general, I have the opinion they should just all be banned. I would love to see that. I would love to see Floodgates banned. I personally don't like it. I see the argument of some players of why they are needed, because combo decks do friggin' broken things, right? And I get the argument that if combo decks do unfair things, then trap decks should be able to do the same thing. I don't think one thing justifies the other. I think both of those issues should be addressed. But I'm realistic here. Even if they ban Mystic Mine, they won't ban all the other Floodgates. We're always going to have Floodgates from now on in Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think time calls for a main deckable out to Floodgates, which means it needs to be a card that's also good in other matchups, which means it needs to be good against combo decks, which I think calls for a card like Quick Effect, destroy a card, bounce a card, negate a card, whatever, something like this on a quick play spell. You know, put your suggestions in the comments down below. How would you balance such a card? Would you make it like so that it can't be negated, for example, similar to Droplet, how you can't respond to it? Would you think you have to attach a cost to it, like discard a card, maybe pay life points? How would you balance such a card? How do you like that idea? But basically, this is just my little input on Floodgates. I hate them. I don't think it's realistic. They get banned though, so that would be my preferred solution from a game design perspective. What do you think of it? How do you like Floodgates overall? You think they're necessary? You hate them too? Throw it in the comments down below. Link to my stream is also in the comments down below. Tomorrow, as of I'm recording this video, on Sunday, I'll be live, like being just a reporter for European Nationals. Hope you guys join me live. All the links down below. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.